Good evening. I'm Dagan McDowell.
And I'm Brian Brenberg. Welcome to The Bottom Line.
Unconditional surrender. That's President Trump's endgame with Iran. The White House says that comes when the terror regime can fight no more. And until the president gets that assurance, Team Trump is making moves to address the elephant on the high seas, getting tankers that are loaded with crude oil supplies moving and energy prices easing.
Today, the administration officially announcing a $20 billion reinsurance program for oil tankers and other maritime traffic in an effort to get ships moving through the Strait of Hormuz again, which has come to a massive slowdown. In the past 24 hours, only 8 vessels have crossed the strait, just one carrying oil. On a normal day, more than 100 take that route.
Protect the tankers. This insurance plan, plus some Trump-promised military escorts through the strait, that is the White House game plan. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent discussing this earlier on Kudlow.
As I walked over here today, the Iranians said the strait is not closed. It would just not, the Iranians would not allow ships out that have anything to do with Israeli or U.S. interest. And I can tell you there's very little, if anything, that comes out of the straits there that comes to the U.S., but these are global markets, and it's roiling global markets.
The cost of crude oil soaring today past $90 a barrel, up more than 35% in just the last week since this fight started in Iran. This is the biggest weekly surge on record. You have to go back to the early 80s. Countries in the region talking their books, so to speak, but making matters worse.
Qatar warning that the Iran conflict will force the Gulf to halt energy exports. And according to the Financial Times, the Qatari energy minister claims that could happen within days and spike oil prices to $150 per barrel in the coming weeks. The Wall Street Journal reporting that Kuwait is cutting oil production, citing a lack of storage space as shipments slow. And that, quote, major storage facilities in Saudi Arabia and the UAE also are filling up fast, with both countries expected to hit their limits in under 3 weeks.
You got to get that crude moving and unloaded. That's why the administration is now granting India a 30-day waiver to buy Russia's oil for its refineries.
This is no change in policy against Russia, but there's a whole bunch of Russian-filled oil tankers around South Asia that are near the Indian refineries. India and all the Asian countries get a lot of oil out of the Straits of Hormuz. So that's where the problem is. We just want pragmatic answers to get oil in so those refineries can keep running.
Let's welcome National Energy Dominance Council Executive Director, Jarrod Agen. Jarrod, great to see you. That's a job that I think I could do, because I can talk.
You taking applications?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Future career move. Great to see you. What else? So, Brian, I actually turned to him and said, what's the first thing should I ask, Jarrod? The move to the upside, particularly in the last couple of days for crude, is very muted early on, has been jarring, and it's going to send national gas prices $3.50 a gallon to maybe $3.90 a gallon, depending on where you live. The insurance move didn't really stop the surge. What else can you do? Is it about one thing that Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent mentioned was there's so much sanctioned oil out there on the seas, is to ease sanctions to get the oil moving and unloaded and into refineries wherever it may be, to kind of get the supply unlocked.
Yeah, well, I would say the best answer is, you hear the president talk about this all the time. It's drill, baby, drill. And this is why President Trump is so good. The actions he had taken from day one of increasing production here in the U.S. and in the Western Hemisphere is why you're seeing it a manageable issue right now, because as Secretary Bessent talked about, we are not reliant here in the U.S. on oil from the Middle East. What the best thing we can do now is work with U.S. producers, keep the drilling going, keep production up. I just returned from a trip from Venezuela. We were there for 2 days this week where we met with Delcy Rodriguez, and we brought a bunch of oil and gas executives down with us. And we need to expand production out of Venezuela. We have the resources here in the Western Hemisphere, and so we want to ramp up production here. We've been doing that under President Trump. That's why gas prices were so low. That's why what you're seeing right now is prices are still manageable compared to what they were under Joe Biden. And so it's unleashing the energy we have here in the Western Hemisphere. We can do that. Scott Bessent, Secretary Wright, and others have already talked about a bunch of regulations on the global scale. But what we're focused on the Energy Dominance Council is dominating energy here in the Western Hemisphere and unleashing what we have here, so that the U.S. can have access to the oil and the gas and the minerals that we have here in the U.S. and not relying on the Middle East.
No argument on the production side. The dominance is definitely there. The mantra right now seems to be ship, baby, ship. You know, the drilling is fine. If you got to get it out of the tanks onto ships and out the door so you can refill them again. You know, it seems like you're throwing everything at the Strait of Hormuz right now. Insurance, escorts, you're trying to unlock the Russian oil for India. How fast do you think you can get to the point where ships are moving through that strait again at the rate of 100 a day? Are we talking it's going to be another week to do that, another 2 weeks? What's your best estimate?
Well, I don't want to put a number or a day on anything. What I can assure you is we move at Trump speed. And so what you've already seen is a lot of actions taken this week, a lot of announcements just in the past few days, as you highlighted in your lead-in. Working with the DFC, we're doing phone calls with the DFC. I know the Department of War is already announced what they're willing to do in the area, and then the sanctions with India. So a lot of action is happening every day. Everybody is moving at Trump speed. The president is talking to his cabinet on this. They're all working it. And so what I would say is we're staying the course. We're going to move at Trump speed to unlock any of the hangups that are out there.
You mentioned being down in Venezuela. What are we looking? Because I made this comparison Monday, that based on what Chris Wright had said early on, and listening to Secretary Burgum talk as well, Venezuela could be at 1.5 million barrels per day in production in short order, in a matter of months. And that is on par with what Iran exports right now, at 1.4 million barrels per day to China before the conflict started. That's significant because it's a direct offset from what Iran was putting on the market. And just to be clear, the reason the Middle East matters and that oil moving out of the Persian Gulf matters is because oil is priced globally. So despite our energy dominance and our record supplies, it still dictates how our oil is priced. But talk about that.
Yeah, I would say, I mean, this is a long-term gain, because what we want to do is get such massive oil reserves in Iran out of the hands of terrorists. Mm-hmm. And so what we're going to experience here in the short term is highly outweighed of the long-term benefit, because ultimately we're not going to have to worry about these issues in the Strait of Hormuz, because we're going to get all of the oil out of the hands of terrorists. And if you look at what has happened in Venezuela, you know, the actions the president took in early January has unleashed Venezuela's potential. We were just down there this week. Chevron, huge producer, told us they're at record levels of production in Venezuela. That's just in 2 months. So we have seen more progress in 2 months in Venezuela than you've seen in the 20 years leading up to this point. That's just on the oil and gas. There are a lot of companies that had stuck it out under Maduro and are now hitting record levels of production. We brought down a bunch of other companies that want to invest, and they're only at a fraction of what they can be on the oil and gas sector. There is so many more fields, so much more potential. Delcy and her team also said they want to move at Trump speed. That was the language of the week. This has been a huge week for the U.S. Venezuela's relations. We reestablished diplomatic relations with Venezuela. We talked to them about critical minerals and gold and coal. We're going to unleash all of that to the benefit of both Venezuela and the U.S.
All right, Trump speed. Jarrod Agen, good to see you. Thanks for being with us tonight.
Thanks for having me.